them to be able to tell you about places around the world and be respectful of other cultures. So like a couple weeks ago, I was teaching, one of our passages was about cuisines around the world. And so I got a video. There's a really good website called Our Africa, and it has videos of all different places in Africa. And I got one from Senegal. I chose one from Senegal because I went there with Worldview. And they showed the women grilling the fish outside on the ground on the little grills, and then putting all the rice on the big plate and putting the fish. And I told them, I said, this video is so authentic because I've been there and that's exactly what they do. And the kids said, they're eating on the floor. And I said, that's what they do. And I said, there's nothing wrong with it, that's what they do. They would come here maybe and think we're weird for having a table, although they wouldn't because restaurants have tables. But I told them in the video they're eating with spoons. And I said, they usually eat with their hands. And they know me well enough now not to say, ew. But I said, would you try that? If you went there, would you try it? And some of them kind of looked at me and then they said, yeah. And I said, well, you wouldn't go to another culture and not try what they're doing, unless it's something crazy or illegal or whatever. But I said the purpose of going somewhere else is to learn, and you need to try. If they came here and we took them somewhere, we'd want them to try, so we need to do the same thing. I guess my biggest thing, especially with them being so young, is just to teach them just because somebody does something different, it doesn't mean it's wrong or weird. It's just different than what we're accustomed to. It has to start somewhere. And so if I respect a culture that's different than my own, if I respect, even though I don't believe in another religion different than my own, it doesn't mean that I need to disrespect it. So in my opinion, the more you're exposed to different cultures, the more you can respect each other. And I think if we knew, instead of just assuming things about other cultures, if we knew more about what people do and why they do it, then we'd be more respectful and we could be more peaceful with each other. For example, we have one child in our group who's Jewish, and I was trying to give them some historical background on Easter, since we're about to have spring break, because we do have to teach secular and religious holidays. And I was so glad she spoke up. I remembered her quite a while ago saying she was Jewish, but I had forgotten. And she pulled out her lunchbox. Now, this was yesterday, and she said, Miss Webb, we've been celebrating Passover, and she said, I have some matzah bread in my lunchbox. And I said, oh, you do? Can you take it out and show us? And whereas I've heard of other teachers that aggravates them that they have, because you have to make accommodations, like with Christmas or, whatever. And I said, take it out and show us. And so she did, and, she showed all the kids and everything. And she seemed really excited that I was asking, well, tell us what you do, and then she said, well, we also celebrate Hanukkah and Rosh Hashanah. And I said, tell us about it. Well, that was actually the day before yesterday. Yesterday, she brought in a box of matzah bread, and she said, my mom said we could try it. And I said, oh, really? And so I asked the kids, I said, do you want to try some? And thankfully, they all said yes. So we all tried. I found crumbs earlier. We were all trying the bread, and then she was explaining how they couldn't eat bread with yeast, for 2 days. She was explaining how they leave the door open for Elijah, so I just thought that was a perfect opportunity. Now the kids have been exposed to something that they had not heard of before.